What up, Cooksy Mob? How we doing? Hey guys, what a race at High Point. I was so happy to see Ken Roczen show up and make this thing exciting. Because let's be real, the 450 class, other than the time master pool, we're kind of searching for a story. Usually the story's presented right in front of us to the whoever's winning. Now we have to kind of look a little bit for the story, but thank you, Ken Roczen, for putting it right back out front on the leaders again. It was awesome. Jett, he passed a test, guys. Like he is, like this is what a lot of people were asking. How is he going to do when he gets one of these big dogs and faces adversity? Guess what? He answered both those questions. Hunter was penalized for jumping on a red cross. I got some opinions about that. Justin Cooper had a horrifying injury, and let me explain to you why it's so scary. I still haven't seen an update. I'm sure it's coming pretty soon, and hopefully all's well and he's okay. But that's frightening, guys. That's terrifying what happened to him. And then also, once again, I was so disappointed that Ricky Carmichael was in the booth with Wygant. He's awful, man. He's awful. How do people think this guy's good at what he does? But I'll comment a little bit about that. First, I want to thank EBC Brakes. EBC Brakes is awesome. If you need brakes, rotors, brake lines, hit up EBC Brakes. They'll take care of you. Complete Racing Solutions, Coach Rob. Honestly, if you want to get in shape and not burn yourself out, do a Coach Rob program. He will get the most out of your body and your potential in a scientific way. So check out Coach Rob. His programs start at like $22 a month and go up from there. You can do all sorts of programs, but he uses hard data to determine where you're at. Epic Garage Designs. Epic Garage is awesome. Like seriously, if you guys want to make your garage or your race shop or your trailer, anything look cool, check out the products, racks, flooring. And then if you're also in the Las Vegas area and you need blinds or shutters, hit up Epic Blinds and Shutters. We do everything here. So, Strapped, the best goggle company I know. I love it. Chris, who runs Strapped, he's a really cool guy, and he's starting something. And this is how a lot of these companies start. It's just with an idea and a vision. He has one. He's bringing out goggles. He's trying to do what he can to change the sport, and that's why I'm so excited to have him as a part of the show. So check out ridestrap.com, order some goggles, order some sunglasses. He got some of the coolest sunglasses, and I'm a bit of a sunglass whore. I love sunglasses. They have all the polarized lenses. They're really cool. I don't know if he's got them on the website, but they will be coming soon. And any of you guys in the comments section where I say you won goggles, if you want to substitute glasses, just let me know, and we'll get you some glasses instead. So without further ado.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
So I watched the broadcast, and listen, I'm sure it has a little bit of bias to do with me not liking Ricky Carmichael as a human being and thinking he's kind of a piece of crap, but he's awful. Just imagine this. Say you're a non-motocross fan and you don't understand that he's the greatest of all time. You don't understand that he's had 2 perfect seasons, 3 if you don't count motos. And you imagine what he's done. And if you don't know that, and you're just watching this purely for entertainment, if you're new to the sport and this is your first year, you don't know who Ricky Carmichael is, what do you think of this guy? This guy can't speak. He's ugly. Like, why is he in the booth? Do we not understand? Am I wrong in saying this guy sucks in the booth? He's awful. He doesn't actually give real opinions. I like JT. JT is great. JT breaks it down. He's funny. He has a little bit of personality where he brings it in. And he gets these short clips, like 10 seconds at a time. But he's doing great. Stewart, I really miss James Stewart. James Stewart, a lot of you guys don't like the way he talks and his slangs. I love him. I love his personality. He shows you an authentic person and somebody who he's fun. If you're watching it and it's the first time watching it, you're like, oh, that guy's kind of cool. He seems pretty knowledgeable of the sport. I'm just saying, if you take away backgrounds, those of us that are doing the sport, we understand. But we need to stop just giving Ricky a pass, because if you base him just on what he does and how he talks, he's horrible. If you write off all that and remember what he's done, everyone he's so, like, in his life, I'm sure people just give him a pass because he's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time when it comes to doing the sport, not talking about the sport, not analyzing the sport. he had a great run and it was awesome, but it was a long time ago. You'd think at this point he'd either get better or get out. I was trying to come up with an announcer or somebody who's been in the booth who's been worse than Ricky Carmichael. I couldn't find one. Last year they had a whole bunch of different guys in the booth testing them out. Brock Glover, and a bunch of, I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but you could probably fill me in. Langston, Pingree, all these different guys who've had that job before him were pretty good. And they all took it serious. They all gave opinions. They all said stuff. Were they the greatest of all time and do they have a resume? No, nobody does. James has close to that, but Ricky is just leaning on that. Like that's the only reason he's in that booth. It has nothing to do with his performance in the booth, and it's really disgusting and it really annoys the crap out of me. Like I was so tired of hearing him. I can't wait. Please get James back in there and please kick Ricky out. He's not good for the sport. Let's cherish him for what he did on the bike because he was the greatest of all time. But when it comes to announcing, he sucks. He sucks. He's not getting better. I almost feel like he's getting worse. And it's you want to grow this sport, get that knucklehead out. So, all right, guys, let's get into the 450s. All right, guys, so we saw Jett Lawrence get the first real test of his 450 career. The first moto looked like he was going to run away, and he had a mistake because he was pushing. Roczen pushed him to a level where he made a mistake. But that's nothing new for Jett. If you watch him in the 250s, he tends to make mistakes. But that was a big one. I mean, he crashed hard. I mean, he busted his visor off. He flew over the handlebars. TV probably didn't do that justice of how hard of a crash that was. And for him to get back up and fight past Garrett Marchbanks, who I'm going to get into Marchbanks in a second. That dude's awesome. But he fought past Marchbanks, caught up to Roczen, and made the pass. I mean, that was impressive. I heard a lot of people talking about Jett afterward and how he's not the same happy-go-lucky kid, particularly after the first motos. He's not joking. He's not going over to the fans and celebrating like he used to when he was younger. But you got to understand, he's in a weird spot in his career where winning doesn't feel like winning. Winning feels like an average day at the office. Super Bowl champion Troy Aikman talked about this with the Cowboys when they were on their run, and he's like, winning got to be standard. He's all, that is a frightening feeling. When you win and you're not even happy, you're just relieved you didn't lose. And that's what I think you're seeing out of Jett, and that wears on a person. Just because he won, he's not celebrating the win. It's not like he won, or you don't see what you saw from him at Paula. He was so happy to beat Sexton. It wasn't expected for him to go 1-1 against Sexton, but he did. Now it's expected. So winning is just an average day, and it's really tough for these guys to stay motivated. But hey, how about my boy Garrett Marchbanks? And I talked to Garrett quite a bit. I like Garrett. He's he's from Utah. I make no bones about it. I cheer for the Utah guys. I grew up in Utah. I want these kids to do good. You just feel like you got some sort of a kinship with them. I mean, the little town he's from is Colville. I've been to Colville. They got Echo Lake there. It's a nice little area. I really like Colville. And for a guy to come from where he came from and to be where he's at, it's pretty damn impressive. But I've been telling him forever, get on a 450. He's a bigger guy. He has a smoother style. It works better on the 450. That extra size that he has actually works for him on the 450, where on the 250 it works against him. I told him, dude, you're a 450 guy after the race. I congratulated him, told him how awesome it was, but I said, dude, can we just agree that you're a 450 guy from now on? He wants to go back for Supercross. I'm like, dang. I just hope he doesn't, because he can't compete with guys like Hayden Deegan on a 250. Because his weight, I mean, you cannot give up a couple tenths of a second, because the difference in that 250 class between first and 12th is not very much. And you can't spot guys 20 pounds every single time. 20 pounds is a lot. Pick up a weight. And imagine putting that on your bike every single time. It's a huge disadvantage. Where on the 450, I think his weight actually helps. There's plenty of power, so it helps stabilize him. Stay on the 450, Garrett, please. I really think that Garrett, let's not forget, this guy beat Chase Sexton head-to-head at the Daytona Supercross. A healthy Chase Sexton on a 250. Garrett Marchbanks beat him straight up in the heat race, and he beat him straight up in the main. The talent is there. The speed is there. He has that potential. So I think if he stays on the 450, focuses on the 450, I think he can get up and get podiums or maybe more. That's how much talent Garrett has, and I really think This is a defining moment in his career, and he needs to let the 250 thing go. Just let it go. I understand there's this desire to go back to the 250 class and win championships before you move up. But sometimes in a situation like Garrett, your body doesn't allow it. You got to go where your strengths are, and that's where I would say he needs to go to the 450 class consistently. Ken Roczen, I love seeing him out there. It's awesome. He rode his ass off, and he looked like he was clearly there to hand Jett his first defeat, and he tried his hardest and didn't quite get it done. I love seeing Adam Cincerillo. You saw what Adam can do when his hand feels good. You saw him reeling Roczen in that second moto. That's what happens when he has feeling in his hand. God, I hope it comes back. And maybe that's a good sign. Maybe that stem cell injection he got at the end of Supercross, those take a while to take effect, and nerves take a long time to heal. Maybe it's getting better. Either way, it's a good sign for Adam Cincerillo, and I'm glad Kawasaki's giving him an opportunity for next year. So, all right, guys, let's get into the 250. All right, guys, let's take a look at the 250 class from High Point. Hunter Lawrence is the man. He is so dialed in right now. His technique is flawless. His racecraft is flawless. He goes when he needs to go, and he chills when he needs to chill. Badass. Any young racer should look at him and learn from what he's doing, because what he's doing is literally how you would teach someone to do it correctly. Hayden Deegan, on the other hand, he's doing it with raw talent, heart. There are two ways to skin a cat. They both work. Hayden's is a lot more fun to watch, but Hunter's is more calculated. It's just pretty. Sit back, watch these guys, and just enjoy it, because it's rare when you see this much talent together going head to head. And I look for Hayden Deegan in that badass pin it style. I 100% believe he's winning Red Bud in 2 weeks. Red Bud is going to be his event. He's going to own that thing. He's a lighter guy, and he's awesome. Hunter was penalized 7 points for jumping on a red cross flag. A lot of people are kind of pissed about it, like, what? I'm going to give MX Sports, because MX Sports is the organization sister company of AMA Pro Racing. It's essentially all the same group under a couple different labels. So MX Sports penalized him 7 points, which I'm fine with. That's consistent. That's what happened to Chase Sexton in Supercross. 7 points. You jump on a red cross flag, you lose 2 positions and 2 points. That's 7 points if you win the race. No problem. Don't jump on a red cross flag. I mean, you can see RJ Hampshire. He never picks his moment. That dude just goes. And dang, he looked so good in that first moto, but he still made mistakes, crashed, but he fought his ass off, won the race. And then the second moto, I don't know what he's thinking. Like, in the second turn, you can't do that. You have to understand and have an awareness of where you're at in the pack. You can't make a hard left in the second turn when there's dudes on left and right of you. You just can't. I mean, poor Jalik was just going through the regular race line and just got clobbered. I don't think it was dirty by Hampshire, but it was stupid. And I mean, he even apologized afterward, but the damage is done. You just took your teammate out, the guy who got fourth in the first moto, who's really looking to rebuild his base. This is a guy that won High Point a couple years ago in Jalik Swole, and you just wrecked his day, man. Like, that sucked. He fought his ass off. I love watching RJ. He'll never cheat you on effort. RJ put in a pretty aggressive move on Hayden towards the end of that first moto to get that win. Was it dirty? Absolutely not. It was designed to get him the win. He was not trying to send a message. He wasn't trying to get dirty with Deegan. It was nothing. It was hard racing. But don't think for 1 second that Deegan doesn't log that away. And next time he's by Hampshire, if there's a window open, Hayden will take it. And everyone will say, oh, Hayden, why is he riding like that? Trust me, he owes RJ one. And when you're the initiator like RJ was, when you get clobbered after a guy hits you, you don't get to come back and say, hey, why would you do that? That wasn't as bad as I did it to you. You don't get to determine what the retaliation is. So Hayden knows RJ won. Justin Cooper had a scary, frightening crash. And you guys wonder why I lobby for these guys to get compensation they deserve? Because at any moment, your career or life can change on these dirt bikes. They make it look so easy, and you see guys like Jett fly off and hop right back up, and we forget any of those crashes. Anytime that happens, you could be the end of your life, the end of life as you know it. You could be in a wheelchair. Like, there's a lot riding on this thing. There's a lot riding on it, and we just overlook it. And I just want to see these guys get the compensation they deserve. Anyway, guys, that's it for High Point. Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there. Remember, subscribe, and I will catch you guys later.